Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, lovers and seekers. Let's get cracking. Tonight's fragment has a headline that reads, Mr. E. Scaping. And the body of this rather lengthy fragment reads as follows. Mr. E. Scaping was a man, and otherwise nothing but, an ordinary man, who had few things, a nothing much, who was all right within. Himself was only but to blame. He began one day, waking up bits and pieces, waking up bits and lies, right before the eyes, right before the eye, that saw him here and saw him there. But never a once did they ever see him everywhere. No, he remembers well, he remembers strong, he remembers young, everybody all around. Nobody sounded sound. The others, they lied, to get first place. Them others, they lied, to get him back in the face. Everybody lying, everybody doing that dance. Everybody a-lying, everybody a-doing that dance. As this man grew older, and that man got fat, seemed everybody, all round and round, forgot how what it was, forget how the all sound. Lying into forgetfulness, what a terrible state. Lying into a forgetfulness, what a bad mistake to make. Grievances, 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 grievances. Nothing but grief, nothing, not even a relief. From the grief, and the grime, and the time long gone now. Not even a grief relief, no mercy, no shine, no mercy, no shine. When the shine is gone, that's a bad day, that's a bad day, in a bad day, kind of way, when the shine is gone, and no polish in sight, 'cause you gone blind too, one in the left, the other at night. When the shine is gone, there no hope for you, only a godly mercy, a hammer hand, will do what will do to you when the shine is gone. Hold your breathing tight, 'cause what's around the corner, though I can't say, not for sure, but hazard a guess, I might, when the shine is gone. You reflect no light, not in the day, not at night, when the shine is gone, 'cause you forgot the sound. There is nothing to say for you, who shine no light, not by day, nor by night. You will never be seen. You will never wondered about, you who forgot how the sound moves quietly, and not by shout. Now, that brings us to the end of the fragment. Let's get started, shall we? 1. The first shape. A man among others. The opening lines present a simple human shape. Mr. E. Scaping was a man, and otherwise nothing but, an ordinary man. It is important here that the initial description does not emphasize internal qualities or accomplishments. It states only that he was, and that his being was aligned with the most common category available, ordinary. The two repetitions of man create a frame that appears solid, but is in fact hollow, leaving the question of what kind of man entirely untouched. This opening establishes the blank against which patterns will later appear. An ordinary man is like a plain canvas, capable of showing whatever marks experience will paint on it. 2. The inventory of possession. The second set of lines narrows the description further, who had few things, a nothing much. Possession is the most visible pattern marker in a life, and here the pattern is minimal. There is little to tally, little to bind him to material systems. This absence could mean freedom, or it could mean lack. The fragment declines to clarify, instead leaving the smallness of the inventory as an unadorned fact. It is in this minimal setting that the first distortions will be noticed, because when there is little noise from possessions, the movements of others become sharper, more legible. 3. The first cracks in perception. The turning point arrives. He began one day, waking up bits and pieces, waking up bits and lies. This is the moment pattern recognition begins, where fragments of memory, image, and overheard statement start to arrange themselves into meaning. But meaning here is unstable. For every piece that is part of the truth, there is another that is part of a lie. The act of waking is therefore ambiguous. Awareness increases, but so does confusion. This is the essential condition of early pattern recognition. The awareness that there is a pattern at all is accompanied by the disorienting realization that some of its components are false. 4. The double vision of eyes and eye. The fragment's shift from eyes to eye is a subtle mapping move. Plural eyes catch the surface positions, here, there, moments in time and place. The singular I belongs to the pattern recognizer, the faculty that tries to unify the scattered observations into a coherent whole. Yet the singular I fails to secure an everywhere view. The pattern remains incomplete. What is visible is always partial, never total. The everywhere view, the whole pattern, remains out of reach. 5. Early pattern, the dance of lies, the recollections of youth introduce the first clear repeating structure. The others, they lied to get first place. Them others, they lied to get 'em back in the face. 2 motives, mirrored, advancement and retaliation. The dance of lies is reciprocal. It has steps and countersteps. In the mind of a child watching it, the important thing is not the specific lie told, but the form of the exchange. 1. A manipulative act to gain advantage. 2. A manipulative act to harm in return. Once observed enough times, such a sequence becomes a recognizable pattern, one that can be detected later in other contexts, other decades. 6. The cultural codification of deceit, the refrain, everybody lying. Everybody doing that dance. Here deceit becomes a communal choreography. It is not an occasional deviation from the norm, it is the norm. The pattern's strength is reinforced by its universality. The more people participate, the more it appears to be simply how things are. For a mind that notices patterns, this realization can be both clarifying and corrosive. Clarifying because it removes illusions about exceptional virtue. Corrosive because it suggests that the possibility of breaking the pattern is vanishingly small. 7th midlife pattern, weight and forgetting. The text moves into a later phase of life with the image of that man got fat. Whether literal or metaphorical, this is an observation about accumulation, of matter, of years, of habits. This is paired with the deepening of forgetfulness. Forgot what it was. Forget how they all sound. Here, the patterns themselves start to erode. It is not only that events are forgotten, it is that the tone and texture of those events are lost. The sound in this fragment is more than auditory. It is the resonance of truth in memory. Without that resonance, the pattern's original shape fades, leaving behind only a blurred outline. 8th distortion through self-deception. The phrase lying into forgetfulness marks a shift from external to internal distortion. This is the stage where the act of distortion, lying, turns inward, erasing the liar's own grasp of the pattern. At this point, a life can be entirely organized around false patterns, convincing to the one living them precisely because the original has been overwritten. In this state, the mind no longer holds the control sample against which to compare the distorted pattern. The original is gone. 9th, the static loop of grievance, the chant-like repetition. Grievances, 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 grievances. This is a closed loop, grievance feeding grievance, producing no new insight, no adjustment of the pattern. It is the equivalent of static in a signal, noise that prevents further recognition. The loop isolates the one caught in it from noticing new distortions or changes in the larger system. The 10th, shine as signal. When shine appears in the fragment, it reads as an external signal of alignment. Shine is the visual indicator that the internal pattern is intact and connected to some source of vitality. Its loss is therefore not merely aesthetic but diagnostic. The shine fades when the inner pattern is either degraded or disconnected from its sustaining source. When the shine is gone, that's a bad day. That's a bad day. In a bad day, kind of way. The repetition is a way of saying the loss is not a singular misfortune, but one that repeats inside itself, like a fractal of diminishment. 11th blindness and 2 registers cause you gone blind too, one in the left, the other at night. 2 kinds of blindness, daylight and night. In pattern terms, this is the inability to see in both the illuminated and the obscured conditions. Day blindness is the failure to read obvious, surface-level patterns. Night blindness is the loss of skill in navigating the unseen, subtle patterns. When both forms are lost, recognition becomes impossible in any condition. 12th, the forces outside the pattern in this state. The fragment posits that only a godly mercy or a hammer hand can intervene. These stand for forces outside the pattern itself, interventions that come from beyond the corrupted system. The mercy might restore the original signal. The hammer might end the loop entirely. Either way, change no longer originates from within the pattern. But 13th, the corner as a concealed junction. The mention of what's around the corner introduces the idea of unseen junctions in the pattern, points where the sequence could change direction, but where the outcome cannot be seen from the current position. The hazard here is that by the time such a corner is reached, the capacity to navigate it may already be gone. A 14th reflection and its absence reflection is the visual counterpart to sound. To reflect no light is to remove oneself from the visible feedback loops that allow a pattern to be confirmed or corrected. Without reflection, there is no mutual recognition. Patterns exist in isolation, cut off from validation. 15th, sound as original pattern. The final return to sound because you forgot the sound. There is nothing to say. Sound in this fragment is the original, undistorted pattern, the tone that everything true vibrates with. Forgetting it is the ultimate loss. Without it, all other patterns degrade, and no act of recognition can be trusted. The closing image, sound moving quietly, and not by shout, is a final contrast to the noisy dance of lies in the beginning. The original pattern is subtle, unobtrusive, self-assured. The false pattern is loud, performative, self-reinforcing. 16th, the life arc in pattern terms. In this reading, the life of Mr. E. Scaping is not simply a biography, but a graph of pattern exposure and degradation. 1. Neutral field, ordinary man, few possessions. 2. Initial recognition, bits and pieces, bits and lies. 3. Partial mapping, here, there, never, everywhere. 4. Core pattern observed, dance of lies, mirrored motives. 5. Cultural entrenchment, everybody doing the dance. 6. Personal change, aging, fatness as accumulation. Sensory loss, forgetting the sound. 8. Internal corruption, lying into forgetfulness. 9. Loop entrapment, grievance repetition. 10. Signal loss, shine gone. 11. Perceptual collapse, day and night blindness. 12. Dependence on external force, mercy or hammer. 13. Unknown junction, corner hazard. 14. Feedback severed, no light reflection. 15. Source tone lost, sound forgotten. By the final stage, the pattern is not only broken but unrecoverable without intervention from outside its own system. The role of the narrator in this reading is less moralist and less archivist, and more akin to a cartographer. The fragment becomes a map of distortions, marked in the order they were noticed. The language, broken, repetitive, recursive, mirrors the very patterns being described, so that the act of narration enacts the reality it records. 18th. The permanence of pattern once lost. The harshest implication of the fragment is that some losses are irreversible. The shine, once gone, may not return. The sound, once forgotten, may never be recalled. The final state of being unseen, unwondered about, is not a temporary condition, but a stable end state in the life cycle of distortion.